You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. You know this. Everyone knows this. And yet, some days you just get through your list of things to do and you feel great. While other days you do just as much and feel completely hollowed out, completely drained. The same amount of hours, yet a completely different experience. So, what's the real variable? It's not time. Time is fixed at 24 hours a day. The real variable here is your energy. And nobody ever taught us how to manage that. We're taught how to manage our calendars, how to approach deadlines, how to deal with tasks, but not how to be the human being trying to execute all of it. Today, that changes. Because when you start treating your energy as your most valuable resource, everything you do shifts. You're listening to Give Yourself Some Leeway with me, your host, Eugene Lee. I want you to think about the most productive day you've had in the last month. Not the busiest day, the most productive. The kind of day where you got into a flow, where work felt almost effortless, where you finally finished and thought, I actually did some great work today. Today was a good day. Now think about what made that day different. Chances are it wasn't that you had more time to do everything. It's that you had more of yourself to bring to the table. You were rested, or you were energized by what you were working on, or the conditions just felt right. Now think about your worst days, the ones where you found yourself staring at the screen for hours and produced almost nothing, where every task felt like you were just wading through the mud, where you had all the time in the world and none of the fuel. Here's the truth about productivity that most advice ignores. An hour of time when you're exhausted is not the same as an hour of your time when you're sharp and focused. They are not equal units of time. It means that we've been optimizing the wrong thing. So in the 1990s, performance researchers Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz started working with elite athletes. They wanted to understand what separates the best from the rest. And what they found surprised them. It wasn't discipline, it wasn't strategy, it wasn't even natural raw talent. It was how well the athletes managed their energy and how deliberately they built in recovery in all that they do. They took that research out of sport and into business, and they found the same thing. The highest performers weren't the ones that were working the longest hours. They were the ones who understood that their energy was their priority, and they worked with their energy instead of against it. Their model identified 4 types of energy. And burnout, they argued, happened when one or more of these runs dry. So the first type of energy is our physical energy. This is your foundation: sleep, movement, nutrition, rest. Without this, nothing else you do is going to work properly. You can't think clearly when you're exhausted. You can't connect with other people when you're running on empty. Physical energy is the soil in which everything else grows. We already talked about this in a past episode about how to protect your physical energy, what daily habits you can instill so that you can protect your physical energy so that you can connect better with others. If you haven't listened to it yet, go back to episode 187. It is worth your time. The second type of energy is emotional energy. This one often gets overlooked because emotional energy is what gets drained when you're managing conflict, difficult conversations, suppressing how you feel, people pleasing, or holding space for everyone else while ignoring yourself. Does that sound familiar? High achievers often have a massive emotional leak that they don't even know about. Every time you say yes instead of saying no, that builds resentment and costs you emotional energy. Every time you swallow frustration to keep the peace, that costs your emotional capacity. And over time, your capacity runs dry. And that's when things that never used to bother you before suddenly become unbearable. The third energy is your mental energy. And this is your focus, your clarity, your decision making capacity. And here's something important to understand: mental energy is not an infinite resource, it depletes through the day. It's like your willpower. You have a lot in the morning and it starts to drain as the day goes on. Every decision you make, big or small, draws from that same pool. What to eat for breakfast? Which email to answer first? Whether you say yes or have an opinion in a meeting. This is why brilliant people simplify their routines. They have the same breakfast, the same morning routine, the same clothes they wear every day like a uniform. That doesn't mean that they're boring. They're protecting their mental energy for the work that matters most to them. And the fourth type of energy, this is the deepest one. And we come back to this time and time again. This is your purpose. Your purpose energy is what you feel when you work on something that means something to you. When you're connected to the why behind what you do, it's the energy that makes you willing to push through the hard things. And when it's gone, when your work feels meaningless, disconnected, like you're just going through the motions, no amount of sleep or exercise or coffee is going to fully fix that. Having a purpose is what makes the other three types of energy worth protecting. So now it's time to get practical because most of us schedule our days based on when things need to happen. Meetings when people ask us to join out of the blue, deep work squeezed into wherever we can fit in that time. Trying to sum up or come up, muster the energy to have like a creative thinking session at 4 p.m. when your brain is ready to switch off. Energy management asks a different question. Rather than asking yourself, when does this need to happen? Ask yourself, when am I best equipped? When am I best equipped to do this work? Most people have a peak energy window of 2 to 4 hours somewhere in their day. For many people, that's early or mid morning. For other people, it can be later in the day. But that window of time is sacred for your deep work. That's when your most important, most demanding work should happen. Not emails, not admin work, and not meetings if you can help it. Think of the real work, the stuff that requires all of you to be fully present. Everything else, the routine tasks, the easy decisions, the follow up and catch up calls, that goes into the low energy slots in your day. When you align your tasks with your energy levels, you get more done in less time. And when you finish the day feeling tired in a good way, by getting more done with aligned energy, you feel so much better than those days where your energy is not matched up and you just feel hollowed out and depleted from the same tasks. So here's your one practice for this week. It's called the Energy Audit. And I know a lot of people who tell me they know all about the Energy Audit and they know all about it, but they never put it into practice. So I'm asking you for the next 3 days, just 3 days, set a reminder every 2 hours of your day. and when you wake up. When that 2-hour timer goes off, just ask yourself two quick questions. What is my energy like right now? Rated from 1 to 10. Then ask yourself, what was I just doing? Write it down. Even if this is just a quick note on your phone. What's your energy level? And what was I just doing? Then after 3 days, with all of these 2-hour blocks, look back, reflect on what you've written down. You'll start to see patterns. You'll see which activities drain you faster than others. You'll see what time of the day you're at your sharpest. You'll probably be surprised by some of those patterns. Maybe meetings cost you more than you realize. Maybe creative work actually gives you energy later in the day. Maybe that after lunch slump happens at exactly the same time every day. This data is gold. You cannot put a price on it because no one else can hand you this data. You need to record this for yourself because you can't redesign your day until you understand how your energy actually moves through it. So all I'm asking is 3 days of your time. Ask yourself 2 questions every 2 hours. That's it. I'm trying to make this a closing tradition on the podcast where I just share one thing that I really want to drill home into everyone. And after writing up this episode, it felt like, our work culture, it glorifies this busyness. That exhaustion is seen as a badge of honor. That if you're tired, it means you're working hard. And that rest and vacation is something that you earn. That's not strength. That is chaos and depletion and a recipe for disaster with good PR. Real performance, as you'll see in the workplace, if you want to see high performing, sustainable performance, that comes from knowing yourself well enough to protect your energy. It comes from treating yourself like a high performing human being, not a machine that runs until it burns out and breaks. You are not lazy for needing rest. You are not weak for having limits. You are not failing when your energy is low. You are human. And humans are not built for relentless, tireless output. We are built for rhythm, effort, and recovery. Pushing and then taking a step back and resting. Giving and then replenishing our capacity. It's time to start honoring that rhythm. Your best work, your real best work, lives on the other side of understanding that rhythm. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, take care.